What is up, my man?
Dude, chilling. You?
Coming to you live from Gillette, Wyoming this time.
Gillette, Wyoming. Coal country, huh?
Yeah, coal country. We're here at the public library getting ready for a town hall event and getting the live in. So
Bought and paid for by coal. You're in full-blown coal country.
By coal, yes. Yes.
As coal country as it gets. Right.
Yes.
Cool, man. Yeah, well, I am not in Gillette Public Library. I'm at my home in beautiful Lantana, Texas, where it is not 100 degrees currently. It is incredible. Overcast and not, the oven. So that's
nice.
Cool. Yeah.
Very nice. Yeah, it's been getting, down into like the 40s in the morning.
Nope.
When I get up to go to the gym, it's like 46. I'm like, this is BS. Why did I come back to this?
I'll take my hundreds in the afternoons back. I'll tell any day.
Yes. Yes. Everybody's like, oh my God, I can't believe you dealt with the heat down there for so long in Baton Rouge. I was like, man,
ain't that bad.
I will take 104, 115 with the heat index over freezing cold any day.
Yep. It ain't that bad once you get used to it. No, I thought it would be miserable coming out of Wyoming, and then I got here.
You just get used to wearing a couple shirts, doing extra laundry, and taking extra showers. Like,
no big deal.
Not a big deal.
Yeah, no big deal, dude.
So, shoveling snow, dealing with that, big deal.
That's what I don't miss at all. I miss snow itself, like snow.
Oh, you do?
Like, because it could be like pretty and stuff, whatever. At me if you want about that. It's kind of cool.
It's pretty to look at from
the that's where it starts and stops for me. Yeah,
it's cool to look at from the interwebs.
Yeah, I wish my kids could do some of the because I have some pretty fond memories of building snow forts and stuff and using snowball fights and stuff. They won't ever get that experience down here, but I don't ever have to shovel snow, so that's an experience they also won't have to deal with that I am not holding as a fond memory that I had plenty of memories of doing. So
yes,
I
mean, it's an easy way to make money as a kid.
Yeah. Well, they get to go to water parks here, which I didn't get to do.
Yeah.
Water
parks, lakes, rivers, year round, all the cool stuff.
Yeah, we got that. We got all that. So yeah. Anyways, what's up, everybody?
I'd like to say hello. Dillon in the dock.
Yeah, all y'all out there in Facebook and YouTube. We're here. It's a Friday afternoon, 3 p.m. Central Time. And we're here for a live show.
We're here to talk to you, answer your questions. Really, we're just going to BS through our own stuff if you don't have them.
Yeah.
You can sit back, listen, and enjoy.
Heck yeah. This is a good excuse for Ryan and I to get together and chat once a week, twice a week, 3 times a week, depending on the week.
Yeah.
And you guys get to listen. What's up?
Yes.
So what do we talk about? What's up with that?
From Georgia.
Oh, hey. Oh, that's our Georgian, like Georgia, the country.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's David from the country.
What's up, man? So yeah, we talk relationships and we talk recovery, sobriety.
Separately and together.
Sometimes those things are related. So what do you talk about?
I am Dr. Ryan. I'm a relationship expert. With expertise in relationship development. So I talk about relationships, how they develop, why they develop, and how to keep them strong while they're developing to make sure you have an awesome relationship well into the future.
I love that.
That's me.
Hey, I'm Dillon. I am the resident sobriety expert. I teach people to believe in themselves. I teach them to get clarity in why they want to get sober, understand the big why that's behind why they want to get sober, give them some tools, teach them that there's going to be some perseverance that's required and then a little bit of discipline. And I help dads become better dads, better husbands, so that this whole generational curse doesn't get passed along. I create curse breakers. That's what I do.
I like it. Say hello to David. We need to say hello to Jenny, Jen, Tony. What's up, everybody?
Hello to all of you fine folks. Appreciate you tuning in. So
you talk about these tools.
Yeah.
What's the first one?
So
hit me with the first tool of getting sober.
The first tool of getting sober is going to be part of the daily non-negotiables, just like you.
I love it. Yes.
And it's going to be exercise. Sorry,
It
folks.
is.
If you don't want to exercise, honestly, don't even get a hold of me. Like, it's just, and I'm not, you have to become a gym rat. Okay. I'm not telling you need to be like me, wake up, run a 5K, and then still go lift weights later in the day. But you're at least going to put 20 minutes in of something, like I'm not asking you to do anything more than your body's already asking you to do, but you're not listening. Like that's it.
20 minutes a day. I mean, we talked about time, and everybody has 20 minutes a day. I can find 20 minutes in your day. You can find 20 minutes in somebody's day.
Yep.
It's there. What you have are excuses.
100%. 100%. Yeah, that's the excuses thing is part of the clarity section of what I teach. It's like, I could give you a million excuses as to why I failed at the things that I do. But I can't give you very many reasons. There's a difference. Like that's the thing we need to understand. Oh, Jenny, what's up? Exercise.
You want to
what
go
else?
over your daily non-negotiables? I'll go over mine.
Sure, dude. I have reading that you will read for like 20 minutes. Like I said, you will exercise and you're going to journal. And there's just, I'm not going to allow anyone that I work with to not do all of those things because, well, I could give you a whole list. And if you did take my course, I would give you a whole list of science-based reasoning as to why you need to do those things. Another one I have is a sobriety tracker. I do require people to use it in the beginning. I don't think it's sustainable. I don't think it's a perfect long-term approach for many, many people, but group accountability is one of the things AA did get right. I don't necessarily like the way that they do it, but they did get that part right. So I'd be a fool to not include things that have been researched and proven to be successful in any change, because that's what we're talking about here is behavioral change. Not we call it addiction, call it whatever you want, but I've mastered habits and behavioral change. So that's mine. That's the 4.
I like it. You got 4? I got 8.
Oh shit.
And that's what we do. So the 8, if you want to get your relationship back on track, you need to do these 8 things. Again, in the beginning, they're going to follow you throughout. These aren't accountability things. So you're going to learn something, podcast, reading, whatever. Just like Dillon, you're going to journal. You're going to write down gratitude. You're going to vent. You're going to write down feelings. You're just writing down thoughts. Fitness, you're going to go to the gym. It just needs to be about fitness, fluids, and food. You are going to stay hydrated and take notice of what you eat. Then you're going to be calm, 5 to 10 minutes of meditation, just being calm, honoring yourself, 30 minutes to focus on something for yourself, hobbies, interests, things that make you happy. And then relationship and family. So you're going to connect with someone without your phone anywhere around. You're going to put your phone away, have a meaningful conversation. Last one is help. You're going to do something for your partner every single day, supporting your partner in some way.
Hell yeah.
Those are the 8 that people are going to do.
I approve of every single one of those, just so you're aware.
Well, thanks. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
HGH.
I don't. I don't know a damn thing about it other than there's a couple guys in my gym that may.
Yeah, David, you're going to have to get on a live with bodybuilders and ask them.
Yeah, man, I don't have any experience with anything like that. I see a lot of ads for testosterone replacement therapy. Apparently I'm approaching the age bracket where guys are doing that or something. I don't know.
Benefits of it. I've read the research and I know somebody who owns a facility that does it, Rejuvenate You. Big shout out to y'all. They came in and talked to us and dude, it decreases your chances of cancer, it decreases your chances of heart attack and stroke later in life. It is crazy the health benefits from doing hormone replacement therapy.
Shot in the booty, man.
It's not a shot. They're like pellets every 6 months.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Once every 6 months, you go get some pellets put in your butt or your thigh. And it lasts. It's from what she said, it lasts, and then you're good to go.
Hey, this ain't HGH, it's TRT, but we're talking about it, I guess.
Yeah.
Hey, and
it goes to personal growth, development, taking care of yourself, looking into things that can better you as a human moving down the road.
Dude, I'm into those. My stance on those things currently is I'm still working on some of the majors, so I'm trying not to major in the minors. And I
Yeah.
feel like a lot of us will pursue, like a good example is like when someone first goes to the gym, like I got to get all the right proteins, I need all these supplements, I need that. It's like, no, you just need to get your ass to the gym 5 days a week first. Like
Yeah.
when you can do that consistently for a couple months, sure, add in all these extra things. But I just see, and I don't know. I mean, I'd have to check out the research some more, but I just feel as though, at least the way it's marketed to people, that it is very much this like quick fix type marketing, and I'm skeptical, right?
For the HGH or the TRT?
TRT. HGH, I know is for sure.
Well, TRT, I will tell you, when you look into it, it's marketed. I would say the marketing is poor.
Yeah, yeah.
When you follow the research, that's when you find out a whole lot about it, which
Cool.
is long-term benefits. It's not about muscle gain. It's not about muscle growth, because it's really not going to do that for you.
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to lose fat quicker. You might gain muscle like you did in your 20s, but it's not, you're not going to explode like
Cool.
you do with, because it's bioidentical.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Hey, so there you know.
There you go. Big
Not
shout out.
HGH,
Shout out to all of them over there at Rejuvenate You for educating me on the topic.
yeah. Hey, Ryan knows about this. Now you guys are gonna know about this. I have 2 loaves of bread that are in the oven. My timer's gonna go off in 40 seconds, and I'm gonna go pull them out of the oven. So you get to hang out with Ryan for a few minutes while I go grab my bread out of the oven, because nobody likes dry bread unless it's toast. So
All right.
I'm not making it toast right now.
See you in a minute. Jenny, when he gets back, let me know and I'll have him answer this one. Oh, it's in the Discord server. He said he's already going to message you. I can't do gym as I'm disabled, but I walk my dog 3 times a day. Jenny, that is awesome that you do that. Like I said in my program, it's not necessarily about the gym. It's whatever works for everybody. It's just, it's about being physical, getting out and doing something. Let's see here, Tony. Hey, buddy, welcome back. Good to see you. When is living any exercise, movement, blood flow is good? Yes, 100%. It's just about movement in the beginning. You lived in your office chair until bed. Oh, man, right there with you. All through grad school, I was either standing up teaching, which isn't super physical, or I was sitting in an office chair at my house or my desk, and it was not good for me. But that's when I started incorporating some of these things, making sure I'm going to the gym every day. And it does help, but yes, it's just about being active, like Tony says. And he's back. The baker is back. Look at that.
It's
2
real.
loaves.
I wasn't
2
even
loaves of
pretending.
bread.
Yeah.
Well, we think it's real.
They're clay. Made them out of clay. They're just props. They're props.
Decorations that your wife had downstairs.
Exactly. Yeah, we use them around Thanksgiving. Put them in our cornucopia, you know. That's how we do it, dude. What did I miss? I missed anything great?
No, like Tony's back. Glad to see him back. Yeah, he was talking about any exercise, movement, blood flow is good. That at one time he was doing nothing, just lived in his office and chair. I was kind of talking to him about, I did the same thing.
I did that at the end of my drinkage. I almost exclusively laid on the floor in front of a TV and played video games or watched TV and drank.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I would stay sober long enough to do homework because I was in college.
Mm-hmm.
There were a few, towards the end, I did miss a few due dates. That was like really weird. Like, I'm not even kidding. I time traveled one time, thought it was like Wednesday and it was Friday.
Oh,
and yeah, my mom was living with me at the time. She was like, "Are you going to do homework this week?" And I was like, "Dude, it's Wednesday. Like, I don't have to do it till Thursday." And she's like, "It's Friday." I was like, "Oh, well, missed that one." So, you know, that's great. There's a little peek into my life at one point.
I time traveled through a bottle.
Dude, I joked and I called it time. I joked at the time I called it time traveling because part of it was I just didn't have any stability or relationships that I was maintaining, and that made life really suck. So I could fast forward through days by just getting blackout and then just do it again. Generally not losing days along the way.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did lose a couple days towards the end. So
Oh wow.
Yeah, dude. Super healthy coping mechanism for anyone interested. You could not try it. I highly suggest against it.
Would you say that's a hereditary coping mechanism?
Hell to the no, did you just say that? You gotta cue me up on that?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. I find ways to laugh, time travel. Yeah, I mean, that's honestly what I did. It made me feel way freaking better about what was going on in my life. I do want to hit this hereditary nail on the head a bit with a hammer. I'll do my best to be kind, but I've had it come up quite a few times in the last week where people are asking me if it's hereditary, and I just want to hop on the record and tell you that it is not. I'm sorry, it is not a genetic disorder or disease. Like sickle cell, cystic fibrosis, Huntington's, what is it? Fragile X syndrome. Like there are a number of, for sure, genetic diseases that you will get if you're unfortunate, no matter what. It doesn't matter what you do in your own life, other than the fact that you were freaking born. That means you get to deal with it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, alcohol use disorder, alcoholism, whatever the hell you want to call it, doesn't fall in that category because it requires an environmental component, period. Like the science is set for sure on that. All it does is impacts our ability to drink greater quantities before we experience the negative consequences, the gross bits of drinking, right? So that being said, if you just don't drink, it doesn't matter if every person in your whole entire family tree drank themselves to death. Like, you have choice. And the reason I really want to hammer that today is because it's permissive and it creates just this huge excuse for people where we go, it's genetic and it's in my blood, like it's just in my blood. That's why I do what I do. And like Hank Williams III has a song about it, like, get out of here, dude. Like it ain't that way. Like, it's not genetic. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry, actually. I'm sorry, not sorry. Yeah, it's just not genetic. So
no, I think that's an easy scapegoat. I think that's an easy excuse.
100%. And that's
to just keep you going.
Yep, that's it.
Oh, I have no choice over this, which is it's bullshit.
Dude, that's why I don't give people alcoholic as a label. Like it is the same shit. You get to go, well, this is what I do. Like, no, dude. Like, hey, but just so you know, grandparents on both sides of my family, alcoholics. Like, hey, I stand here sober as Jaybird years later. Like, I'm not compelled. I'm not obsessed. Like, it at one point became an obsession. It was a very deeply learned habit in my life, but I outgrew it, through a lot of action and some time.
There's the two words that are key is learned and habit.
Yes.
This is a state. This is not a trait.
Exactly. Like the genetic traits that you do have, if you have a predisposition, I suppose, is that you can drink a greater quantity. There's also the opposite. We see it's very common in people of Eastern descent, Asian descent, where they cannot drink very much alcohol. And if they do drink, their face gets very red because their body cannot process metabolically alcohol in the same way that Westerners can. So, like, it's not a thing, guys. So if you're trying to allow your drinking excuse to be that you're genetic, I just want to let you know you should stop doing that. And the research that has suggested that it is genetic has conceded that it is largely based on environment, how you were raised. If your family taught you that it was okay to be a drunk, you may end up being a drunk. So
they can't even find consensus in twin studies. Yeah.
So hey, there you go. And that's it. I just, like I said, I didn't want to turn it into a big long giant rant, but It is unhealthy and it is irresponsible of me to allow anybody to believe that they're drinking because they're genetically compelled to do so.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think very fair. I just find it as an excuse. I mean, we talked about excuses ad nauseum about a week ago when we talked about old habits dying hard, old bad habits, and even in relationships, people want to blame that stuff on the way they were brought up, or their family's this way, or they've done it so long. But the bottom line is, it is a choice for you to act certain ways in a relationship towards your partner. It is 100% a choice. You are not born yelling at somebody.
Totally.
You are not born criticizing. You are not. It has no bearing on it. I don't care how loud your family is, or if they yelled at each other. You have a choice not to.
Totally. Yep.
Like, that is one thing I will tell everybody. There is no reason to ever, and this is where I get kickback on it. There's no reason to ever raise your voice in the house, ever, at your spouse, ever.
Totally agree. Totally agree.
That's a choice. And that's when they're like, oh, but my family's just a loud family. Oh, that is a choice you make to raise your voice and to yell at your spouse.
I will say I have to consciously make, like, I'm still not 100%. I'm with you, by the way. This is not me disagreeing.
Yeah.
I'm saying that I'm actually reifying your position is what I'm doing here, because I came from a household of yellers, and I have had to go, like, I don't do this. We're not doing this. Because I would like to point out that it is ugly to yell at people, and it does not make them listen. So there is no purpose in yelling other than to inspire fear. And if that is how you want to run your household, is to have your kids scared of you, I think you got bigger problems than the fact that you yell.
Like there is no reason to ever do it. It doesn't get your point across. It doesn't help in conflict. It does zero good.
Totally.
It shows a weakness, and your weakness being your inability, especially men, in your inability to control your emotions.
Yeah. Totally a reaction. And that's when it still does get me on occasion. I will react to a situation instead of respond.
It is, like you said, a conscious decision that you have to make.
The only time I will raise my voice is a safety thing. Like if I have one of my littles that is about to potentially harm themselves in a situation, they'll stop for a second, and that's the only reason I do it. And it's also like another way to make sure my wife is aware of the situation. Yeah. But like, you're not going to catch me like drill sergeant yelling at my children, trying to get them to do something.
It's not aimed at an individual.
No, it's a situation.
Sometimes you have to raise your voice to get their attention. But it's not yelling. It's not judging. It's not criticizing. It's not.
Nope.
It's not instilling any negativity into the situation or the individual.
No, just trying to protect somebody.
Yeah.
I want to hit this one real quick.
Let's hear it.
I cannot fully answer that as far as whether it destroys vitamin D. I do know that alcohol use diminishes your intestine's ability to absorb nutrients. Okay. So as far as destroying vitamin D, I don't know, but I know that if you were consuming foods that had vitamin D in it, you're going to absorb less of that in your gut during that process. We talked about Wernick on here before, and that's a vitamin B deficiency that's caused from malnutrition that's often accompanied with drinking because you can't absorb vitamin B. So I could see how it might do the same thing for vitamin D. I don't think it destroys it though.
Vitamin D is also a fat soluble vitamin. So, I mean, I don't know how alcohol operates, but I would assume that it's depleting those sources and those stores. Like when you take vitamin D, you need to take it with food, a fatty food, for it to be absorbed into the system. Yeah.
That's why it's great with milk.
Yeah.
So there's that, man. I'm sorry I didn't have the most adequate answer as far as whether it did or did not destroy anything.
Yeah.
But there's something for you at least to go on. Don't drink is the bottom
Yeah.
line.
And like on to Tony is like being able to scare people evolutionarily.
I don't know if that's true.
I'm not sure if this is true,
Yeah.
but I will say that you should never need to scare your wife.
Yeah. Well, I actually, we'll talk about this in my segment. Did you mention that you're leaving us today?
Yes. Oh, I didn't mention, but yes, I will be leaving here in about 5 to 10 minutes to help Reed set up for this town hall event.
Yeah. So as far as evolutionarily, like scaring people helped us evolutionarily. I'll talk about it at length once Ryan's left us, because we decided we'll postpone my segment till he's gone. That way I'm not hanging out by myself, totally trying to wing it. Our dopaminergic system, our reward center in our brain, that whole entire pathway is so closely tied to relationships and human connection that it is so difficult for me to believe that we would be hardwired, contrarily to what your assertion is that, it was beneficial to scare people, because actually it's beneficial to work with our own species. That's how we got where we are today. Like, no man's an island, and Rome wasn't built in a day or by one person.
Yeah.
So that's
yes. And I want to clarify, yes, combative and tough. There's a way to do this where you're still under control of your emotions, where it's not a reaction, it's a response.
Totally. Yep.
And the most assertive people are responsive. They're responding, they're not reacting.
Yep.
And I think that's some of what we've lost, is the ability to respond rather than react. And I want all men to be able to respond to their wife instead of reacting.
Hell yeah. 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 Well, yeah, I mean, I'm not diminishing what he said. I wish men would just respond to situations in general.
Yeah.
I don't even give a shit. Like, one thing I see that sucks for men is like the cultures in workplace culture, the way that we interact and communicate with one another is usually pretty reactionary, and we're not responding to situations in a healthy fashion. And I wish men had that experience, I guess.
But if you look at the most solid leaders, like take Jocko Willink, for example, he responds.
Yeah.
He responds in every situation. You talk about leadership, it's a response. It's never a reaction.
Yeah. It can't
So
be.
you look at the strongest leaders and you will see that trait in them.
Heck yes, dude. I like that. Yeah, guys, if you got any other questions for those of you that just coming on the show, we talk relationships and recovery. I should probably put something in the artwork on our background that lets people know. Yeah,
I mean, we kind of have it down there in our thing,
our bio thing.
We got the chain, we got the hearts.
Yeah. So yeah, we talk relationships and recovery. If you have questions about those, go ahead and ask. Probably don't want to ask a relationship question, because he and I both stay in our lanes pretty well, and he is the relationship guy, and he is about to bail. So
yes,
I will not be fielding relationship questions, because I know what I'm good at, and it's not that I have a bad relationship, but that's not my area of profession or expertise. So yeah.
Yeah, Tony, a long line of hair trigger men. I mean, this is what I fix in my program. I take the hair trigger away and teach you how to respond.
Hell yeah.
If you want to learn how to do that, get a hold of me.
Yep.
That's the easiest way for me to explain how to do that.
Yep. Yeah. It's awesome. Yeah. Well,
other than that, yeah, I'm going to let you talk
leave.
about Joy. I'm going to hop out and get this thing on the go. We got a town hall to set up.
What are you campaigning? You got somebody that's campaigning in your life?
For U.S. Senate, baby.
Heck yeah, dude.
Got a U.S. Senator, future U.S. Senator in our midst. Well, he's walking back and forth, but
look at you hanging out with famous-ish people right now.
Hell yeah.
Soon to be more famous.
Making stuff happen.
Hey, that's what we do. I'm not helping anybody campaign, but I'm trying to do cool stuff too. Okay.
I like it. You are doing cool stuff.
Yay. Thanks,
you're,
man.
you're famous in your own right, brother.
I just got my A for a day. Appreciate it.
Barb Seltzer, curious who is it? His name is Reed Reisner. He's running for U.S. Senate for Wyoming. He's running against John Barrasso, and that's all the politics we will talk in this show.
Yep, we don't talk politics here.
With that, I am out, brother. But I will. I'll see you later. I'll talk to you later.
Yeah, well, we don't have a live. Yeah, we don't have a live show tonight, guys. So don't expect to see us again. But yeah,
Yep.
so here you go. Bye, dude.
Peace out.
We'll see what happens. I've never had somebody leave in the middle of the show. We'll figure it out.
Well, enjoy.
I will.
Bye.
See ya. Ah, hey, that's what happens. I just get really big on the screen. Hey, everybody. So there goes Ryan, and he will be back. Hey, Tony, I appreciate that. I try my best. I do. I take the most no nonsense approach that I know with all of this. I often saying things that people don't want to hear, like that sometimes getting sober sucks, that it won't be easy, all those things, because you deserve to and should know that the experience may vary. And yeah, so I'm happy to hear that it somehow touched you and benefited you. I'm just gonna be honest, these live shows by myself are weird. So we're gonna see how this goes. Showing a little vulnerability here, guys. Sorry. But so today's segment that I had pre-planned was on the role of joy in recovery. And it's seriously a big one that I don't think gets enough credit. You know, you hear a lot about, quitting, obviously, that's key in getting sober, but you hear about going to meetings, you hear about, different programs that you can be a part of in order to stay sober. And no one's talking about what I feel is the most valuable component of sobriety, and that's our ability to connect with other people. Okay. And that's what we're going to talk about today, because that's what joy is all about. So I think the easiest way to explain it to everybody is just to share some stories with you that illustrate the points, instead of like giving you some regimented facts and figure heavy, boring thing. Right. So let's hop in a little Wayback Machine, and we'll go back to the beginning of the end for me. And we're going to break it down from the perspective of a diminishing joyful experience. Okay. My wife and kids moved away to Texas. My wife took a job, and our relationship was not great. I was drinking. It wasn't super duper problematic at that point, but she took a job. She moves away. There's no talk of divorce. There's nothing like that going on. I wasn't really super excited about the idea, but we also it was like, it would have been 2018. I'm not about to tell my wife she can't move. She has a great option for her career, great career move. I'm going to support that and get to Texas as soon as I can. That's the plan. So they move. And right as soon as I get back to Wyoming, which is where we were from, this social club that I'm a member of, I find out that they're like eliminating me in a way. They are removing me as an elected officer because they had heard that I was moving, which, by the way, I wasn't moving. So there's just a big game of telephone that occurred, and the next thing I know, I'm out. And I was really hurt by that, because at that point in my life, the most meaningful relationships I had was with my family, who just left, and all of those guys that I interacted with every week or so. So I'm like just feeling devastated. I don't realize that any of this matters at that point. I'm just kind of like mad, just frustrated. And you're like, well, hey, Dillon, what does this have to do with joy? Like, why are you telling us some story about how all your friends bailed on you or don't like you or whatever? Because it has everything to do with it. It truly does. It has, relationships are where joy comes from. We experience joy through deep, intimate human connection. That is how it works in our brain. And what is going on is, for me, what was going on through that story is my front half of my brain, the prefrontal cortex, orbital frontal cortex, all of that stuff, cingulate cortex, is becoming more disconnected from the thalamus and the basal ganglia. And I'm turning into an animal is essentially what's going on. I am losing the traits that make me human, my ability to have empathy, my ability to make conscious choice. Now, don't take that permissively that, oh, I'm drinking, therefore I cannot make decisions, because you can. It just becomes more difficult. I am having difficulties understanding that I'm hurting the people around me because I'm just in fight or flight constantly. I'm experiencing fear and insecurity at its highest that I'd probably ever experienced in my whole entire life at that point. And it has a very exponential growth type phenomenon that we experience, because as we fall deeper into addiction, as we wreck more relationships, we experience less and less joy. As time progressed, my wife didn't want to talk to me on the phone, and I can't blame her, because I am drinking more than I've ever drank in my whole entire life. I am not ever sober when she wants to talk to me. I can't remember things that she mentions. I'm not always overly kind when we're on the phone, and everything just kind of gets worse and worse. I drink more often because that's how I handle my emotions at this time. And I'm filled with emotions that I don't know how to manage, because my brain's not even letting me access the part of the mind that allows me to have any sort of control over my emotions. And motivation to fix any of it is completely gone, because my whole entire dopaminergic system, the rewards pathway, is tuned in on how do we get this guy to get more alcohol. That's all it cares about. It's all that's going on at this point. So I've also have something going on where I don't have the same routine I used to have. You know, my drinking was under control while my family was around, because this is not to denigrate anybody that drinks with their kids around. I was pretty careful about making sure my kids were in bed before I would drink a lot. You know, I might have a beer or there at barbecues, family barbecues, that kind of thing, or at dinner, but I wasn't getting like blackout drunk while my kids were around. Now that my family's gone, I kind of made the joke about the time machine earlier, but I really was using it like that. It was like I would get home from work, wouldn't get really drunk because I wanted to talk to my wife, wanted to talk to my kids. And then I would, as soon as I was done talking to my kids, floodgates were open, and I would just drink until I basically passed out, because I wanted the next day to come, because I didn't have the relational connections that make life worth living occurring anymore. They were gone. You know, the reason I bring up the routine thing is this ties into the bigger picture for a lot of people's experience during the pandemic, and a shift in routines and a blurring of the boundaries of when and where we do drink and what's expected and how we behave. So when we lose routine, when we lose a habit, that's what we need to understand here. And this is largely rooted in my belief and understanding that drinking is just a very deeply learned habit. So when things change, habits can begin to change. That's how that functions. So we're in a pandemic, all of a sudden you're stuck at home. The routine of going to the office, where, hey, maybe you had to not reek like you just came out of a brewery every morning because you had to interact with other human beings, that's gone. So you can drink more at night. And then the next thing you know, you can drink in the morning too, because I don't have any Zoom meetings today. I can do these emails. I can handle these Excel spreadsheets while I'm drinking, you know. And I think it's important for me to share that with you so that you can maybe understand your own experience, contextualize how is it that you got from point A to point B, because that could very much play into your experience. Here's the thing. Steve Jobs once said, you can't connect the dots looking forward. It's only when you look backward that we bring these things into view, right? And I've really started to recognize these things. The reason that I bring this topic up is I've been working on writing a book, and I now have a very clear view and the right lenses to be able to view my experience through, to understand, like, oh my God, that's how this fell apart. That's why this fell apart. That's why this happened. And not just from a like conjecture or I think this is what's happening. I'm talking through a neuroscience perspective, like a scientifically rooted, not just anecdotally supported experience, right? And with that understanding, I want to talk about where many of us make a mistake in trying to get sober. And it's in the difference between happiness and joy, right? So when many of us try to get sober, we chase happiness in order to achieve that. Like if I go to the gym, I'll be happy. It'll be easier to stay sober. I will buy this thing. It will make me happy. I will stay sober. I will do this. It will make me happy. I will stay sober. We are chasing a dream, something that's ephemeral, because happiness is very, very, very situational, and it does not last very long. Don't believe me, go buy something at the store and tell me how long it is until you experience buyer's regret, or that it just didn't do anything for you at all in the first place. Because joy, on the other hand, is relational. We are secure in our relationships unless we have some sort of attachment style that diminishes our ability to have that. But most of us don't have that. And even if we do, it can be overcome. That's one thing that's important to understand. Even as we fall deeper and deeper into addiction, we can crawl out. We can fix the disconnects that are occurring in our brain. And the way we do that is through joy, through relationships. And our brains were wired to do that. Like from birth, that's how we learn in our developmental stages as children. That's how we learn to basically sync the different parts of our brain, is through the experience of joy, through understanding there's someone on this planet that is excited to be with us, and we're excited to be with them. That is what you should do, right? That is the thing that most of us aren't actually chasing when we try to get sober. And it's the thing that we should immediately be embracing. Immediately figure out, how do I fix the relationships that I'm in, right? And I'm not talking about making an amends, right? I want to make that very clear. I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about going and apologizing to all these people. I'm talking about the relationships in your immediate vicinity. If you're in any, how do you fix that? How do you get it to where your wife is excited again when you come home from work? She probably isn't. Mine wouldn't have been at that point, because I would probably be coming home smelling like booze, right? She's not going to be excited about that. Or I had done something the night before, even if I didn't smell like booze, I did something that was probably pretty much like a jackass, and I didn't deserve for her to be excited for me to show up, right? Sickness and health, yada, 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 whatever. We get to draw boundaries at some point, where someone's disrespecting us. We don't have to be excited for them to come home. So that should be like one of the first things you're working towards when you're trying to get to the point where you can stay sober, to where you can get to the point where you start to manage cravings, get to the point where you have empathy, get to the point where you start to develop resilience again and mindfulness, all these things that are lost as we fall into a habit that doesn't, what happens is the habit doesn't necessitate our brain spending any energy on any of these other ancillary things. Like, it's not helpful for you to be empathetic about the way that you're trashing the lives of the people around you as you pursue alcohol. That is actually contrary, because if you start to think about the destruction you're weaving in other people's lives, you're less likely to want to continue to drink. But that's not what your brain thinks that you want at this point. So it turns all those other things off. It can come back again. Already talked about that. But if we don't have relationships to repair, then you need to start connecting with people. You need to start being authentic, honest, open, be truthful in your experience, own your experience, show up and be present in moments with people. And that's how you're going to fix your brain. Get that. I guarantee you can go find somebody that's going to be excited for you to show up. How can you do that? How would you become friends with a stranger? It's really not that hard. Listen to them, right? We love to talk about ourselves. It's one of our favorite things to do. That's how we made friends from the beginning. We asked questions, curious, authentic, honest questions of other human beings to get to know them. Something that we seem to unlearn as we age, probably as a protective mechanism. I'm not really sure, but we don't interact in the same way we did with this innocent, childlike wonder to be able to connect with other human beings. And those are the things you need to get back as you're working towards staying sober. That is how we're going to experience joy. And joy is how you're going to repair your brain. It's exactly how you're going to overcome the habit that you're experiencing, because you're going to reconnect the front half of your brain to the rear. You're going to create an environment, right? A relationship where there is no fear and there is no insecurity, where you can accept the other person for who they are and they accept you for who you are, right? That's how we experience joy. And that's how we start to heal and mend our own relationship with ourself and with the world around us, right? I can track my experience to that exact same thing. I did not understand any of the relational science or the neuroscience behind what I went through until I became a professional recovery coach and started to learn all of these things, till I started to actually, I don't know, pay attention. I went to school, I'm a communication major, human communication major. A lot of that framework fits all this too. I just didn't understand it through experience. I had it through book smarts, right? Now I can actually apply it to my experience and understand, like, oh, that makes sense. I see that after I got sober, I plugged in with people as quickly as I could, most of them in a recovery community. Like, we had shared experiences, that's fine. There is a little bit of a dangerous line that we need to be cautious of, and that is trauma bonding. Like, this is not what this is about. When I say that we need to be open and honest and authentic, I'm not saying that we overshare and word vomit everything we've been through when we meet someone. It's the very opposite of that. It's like, ask honest questions, get honest answers, consider how deep you are in a relationship with somebody and match the information you share to that, right? Like, when you first meet someone, you don't just shake their hand and tell them you're an alcoholic. I wouldn't suggest that anyways, because I don't believe that anyone's an alcoholic. I believe that we have a deeply learned habit that involves alcohol. Neither here nor there. That's not how we do that. We don't just walk up to strangers and tell them that we're defective. That is not a good way to establish a relationship with another human being, but it's a really good way to trauma bond. And you see it in detoxes, rehabs, and recovery communities all the time. I don't advocate for that, but you can still connect with these people, get to know these people. You at least do have a shared experience. You immediately have common ground with them at some level. That's helpful, right? And that's what I did. And I just got to know these people. And then I figured out that the more useful I became to others, the more useful I became to myself, right? Because I had to take care of myself in order to help take care of other people. And then, hey, it turns out that if you've helped somebody solve a problem, and I'm not talking in the sense that I sat with them and talked with them about like how to stay sober or something. I'm talking about like help somebody mow their lawn, right? Like help them do normal human things. I can chart my transition from where I was to where I am today and understand that the quicker I got away from the identity in my head that I was an alcoholic, the more healthy I became. I got to the point where it's not my identity, right? I don't think about those things. And it was because the recovery work I was doing was just doing things that humans do with other humans, just helping people, helping each other out, right? As all that stuff occurs, like, how do you not have a joyful interaction with somebody that's helped you? Like, it's not really a thing. Think about times in your life, like if somebody helped you change a tire and then you saw them again later, you're going to be grateful that they're even in the room because you're grateful for the experience you had with them previously, right? Like, try to live your life in a way that you have had such an impact on the people around you that they're truly excited when you show up. Like, not even because like maybe you'll do something for them, but just like, damn, that person's solid. I'm glad that person's here. That person's been meaningful in my life, and I'm grateful for their existence. That is what we should truly endeavor to be doing with other human beings along the way. It's how we're going to experience joy. It's how you're going to get healthy. It's how you're going to stay healthy, right? And that's how you foster a deep and meaningful human relationship. You think about relationships you had from birth. If we were lucky and won the genetic lottery and our parents were, less maladjusted, we can trust them. We can look up to them. We experience joy. We are excited. My kids are stoked when I come home. I'm stoked when I come home too. We share joyful interactions with one another, right? It's because we trust those people, because they have been helpful to us and we have been helpful to them. You look at your siblings, ideally it's the same way. You might do some bickering. As we get older, it may be even worse than bickering, but there was at least a point in your life where you can look back and you can understand exactly what I'm talking about when I'm saying joyful human experiences, right? And I just think, I don't think it's spoke about enough how important it is to have meaningful human relationships. It's like one of the last things on people's minds when they're talking about getting sober. And it's sad to me because the science is there that that's how this is all done. Like that is how you're going to reestablish your identity, how you're going to become human, because that's it. You've lost your own identity as you have drank. Like I'm speaking specifically to drinking. It's what I have the most experience with. It's like you're in a codependent relationship with alcohol and you've completely lost who you are and made the needs of alcohol number one. And that's all that matters anymore. And that's all you think about anymore. That is the obsession that they talk about. It's the obsession to fulfill the desire to drink. Or rather, when alcohol makes you think about it, it's not your agenda anymore. It's alcohol's agenda, right? Like that's where we get. That's the point that we get. And hey, you find yourself in a better relationship with an actual living, breathing human being that you have a joyful relationship with, you'd rather spend your time with that person and they'd rather spend time with you. So that is what I've got for you guys today on joy and the role that it plays in your sobriety. I really appreciate all of you guys that do stick around for the show. I'm sorry, Ryan's gone. I usually like to banter with him a little bit about my topic. I'm not going to get that. So if you guys have any questions about anything that I just covered, feel free to drop them in the comments. Pretty passionate about it. I've spent a lot of time researching this topic, and the more I can contextualize my experience by connecting the dots backwards, it rings so true anecdotally. It's unbelievable. Like I can just chart it step by step. Like this is, and I can also, I can look at other points in my life too. I should probably mention that. Like there were other times in my life where my drinking was also very, very, very out of control. Like in my mid-20s. And if I look at it, it was always when I was pulling away from the people around me, when the relationships were diminishing or vanishing around me and I didn't have that joyful experience. That is when I would find myself falling back into the bottle, like face first. So I mean, shouldn't be a surprise that is the experience I had again later in life. Because it's what we do. I mean, I challenge any of you to take a peek through your own historical record and see how much of, not that my story is the same as yours, but that you can see those same patterns, right? The other thing I want to suggest is that for those of us that have people in our lives that are also suffering, the best thing you can do is be there for them. Like my wife and I had to talk about this, and I don't resent her for the decision that she made for moving and taking a job. For those of you that have not followed the show, like there was a point we were in the middle of a divorce. She was making the best decision she could with the information that she had at the time. As I started to learn these things, we've had to talk about it. And it's like, neither of us knew this at that point, but that was actually the worst thing that could have happened, really. If the easiest way to resynchronize your brain so that you can be a human again is to interact with other human beings, when someone's in the depths of addiction, people bail on them, right? I've done it to other people. That's definitely why I want to speak on this, because I've had friends throughout life before I experienced what addiction's really like, that I like just turned tail on them. Like, yeah, well, you're a liability now. Like I don't need you in my life. And I think that that's the worst thing we could do for somebody that's suffering, is to turn our backs on them. And yeah, so if you're the spouse of somebody that's drinking, if you have a kid that's drinking, you have a brother, a friend, whoever, just be there with them. Be excited to see them. The next time you guys go out to have a meal or whatever causes you guys to be together socially, just hang the hat of the habit and don't bring it up. It's not like they don't know, right? Just be with them and allow them to experience some joy in the moments that you have with them at that point. I'll go ahead and turn to the comments for a minute. Jess, yeah, the COVID thing was kind of the last nail in the coffin for a lot of people. Many of the clients I've worked with throughout the time. Tony, yeah, it's interesting. Like so many of our, not you and I, but just in general, humans in general, we have very like and kind, different in detail type experiences. I mean, you think about it, we tell ourselves that we're unique and that we're special, but at the end of the day, we're not too dissimilar. We're much more alike than we will ever be different. That's just something we have to come to terms with. This I love, Jess, I truly do. So it's actually one of the things I talk about in my program is the need to have a certain type of hobby that music is really good at, because you can grow at it, you can develop that as a hobby, you can grow as a person, and it's a hobby that you can do with other people, right? It sounds like you might do it a little bit more professionally as opposed to a hobby, but either way, other things that we can be doing where we can be growing, those are other ways that we can experience some joy, because it's not just relationally with other people, it's relationally with ourselves. Because at some point in our addiction, I spoke about having like a codependent relationship with alcohol. We became the back seat in our own lives. We're in the back burner in our own lives. We fell out of love with ourselves and fell in love with an inanimate object that just treats us like crap, right? Sounds really strange when you break it down that way, but that's the truth. That's how it happens. So if you have any questions about it, let me know. I did want to mention, so for those of you that aren't in the group, there is a Discord group that I created. It is anonymous, and it is a dang good place to kind of test out being able to be honest, open, and authentic, because you can do it anonymously, right? Like, you can share your story with other people without the concern of judgment. You know, you can share your experience with other people without the concern of judgment that we do get. Like, we do get from family members, we do get from friends, we do get that from coworkers. There's really no denying that. So if it's something you're interested in, and the other thing too is I share tips and stories periodically through my email. If you join the Discord server, you will be signed up to get some emails along the way. So if anything I've shared on this show is meaningful or useful to you, that's another way to make sure that we stay connected and that you continue to, you know, get some knowledge bombs dropped here and there. For those of you that do tune in regularly, we do not have a show tonight. The afternoon, the show right now is it. We won't be live again until Tuesday evening. Ryan will join at that point. So it will be Dillon in the Duck. I guess I need to change the graphic for when it's just me. It just says Dillon. And then I probably won't do that. But I just want to say thank you all for tuning in. Thank you, Leanne and Jess and Tony and Barb and David, our Georgian. Thank you for tuning in, and Jenny and Jen. Appreciate all of you tuning in for the show. Hope that you've enjoyed it, and I look forward to catching up with all of you on Tuesday. Now, I'm going to go eat some of that bread. You guys have a wonderful weekend.